Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm here this week talking about climate change. I'm actually on the walking pier of New Haven Harbour, and just behind me you can see some fishermen. Yesterday I was on this pier, and in actual fact I had a conversation with a couple of fishermen, and when I asked them, what do you do with the fish, because they had about 9 or 10 rods between them, and the conversation went that we just take it home and eat it. But I couldn't help thinking that there was some kind of commercial enterprise going on. And not that, the research I've done so far tells me, and watching a Netflix series, that commercial fishing is doing an enormous amount of damage to our environment because we're killing the oceans, and we need those fish to actually look after the oceans. And we have overfished. Now, yesterday the good news is that I've given up meat to help the environment. I've never really been a big kind of meat eater, but I feel that we've killed too many animals, and the science of it is that the way we're currently farming, or have been, although there has been some great innovation in farming, is that we are the commercial traditional modern farming is that we are actually taking down land, putting crops in, and taking away wildlife. So the farming industry does need to change. Looking at a YouTube research video, farming agriculture itself is number 10 on the list. I think it's actually higher than that in terms of damage to the environment. There's been some great innovation in America. In one town, a farmer has been able to, which originates from South Africa, I believe, is able to use livestock to graze the farm in small doses. In actual fact, they can actually grow all round plants and different vegetation, so that in actual fact it's more sustainable. Wildlife comes back to the land. I've been doing some research recently, and I hope you stay tuned for a small documentary that I prepared for you. The climate change, the fact is, we're going to 2 degrees. I think it's 2040, 50, I can't quite remember. But looking at the science, and I'm no expert, I've only started begun to research what we're doing. When I look around, looking at these railings behind me, they're made of steel. Steel is used originates from limestone, and mining is the number one cause to damage to the environment. So I look around, we've got a quarry over there. I'll just quickly show you that at the back. Just behind me you can see there's a quarry over there. So we're actually on this particular part of New Haven. They've built a new bridge. We know that concrete making is not great for the environment, so even though there's some protected grasslands, have introduced a greenery for some protected species in birds, but everything how we live as humans, it really worries me. The fact is that everything we produce is plastic, and one thing that I want to campaign for is to take to Parliament is a debate on putting a cap on how much plastic manufacturers can produce, because manufacturing on its own is a really big cause of damage to the environment. Number one, even the recycling process, we know that it costs electricity and energy to recycle things, and I think here in the UK we only produce 10% more than what we need. I need to double check that figure, but we know that wind farms, the UK as a nation, we're quite good at the recycling agenda. One of the biggest countries in the world that produce CO2, we've got China, the US, believe it or not, and India. And parts of India, a lot of companies have done really well and actually changed the way they produce material, because we know that sadly fast fashion and dye itself, when you dye clothing, goes into the sea and it causes massive damage to the environment. In actual fact, the research that I've carried out so far is that the Deep Horizon oil spillage doesn't even equate to the amount mankind damage have done to the environment, and for me that's quite scary. So I think we all need to step up and do more, because we are literally, I would say from my research, we are eating our planet. If you go into a supermarket and you walk down the shelves, it's really quite scary. I've worked in a supermarket for many years, Sainsbury's, Asda, they've done really well to feed us, but when you look at it, you look at across the shelving, and 90%, even higher than that, it's all man-made products, the plastic, because I've worked in factories when I was at a younger age, and when packaging is made, you get a heat sealer that actually puts on the plastic, and that requires energy. So we may be able to sustain ourselves in the energy factor, but with population growth and many other things like overfishing, we are literally eating our planet. It's inspiring to see the Netflix series that I watch, and that's helped me try and do a small part in becoming a vegetarian. We've killed too many animals, and I worry, and I'm very concerned, because in Denmark, no disrespect to the country, but a small part, an island, are actually killing dolphins for meat, and the way it's done is just not humane at all. It's really quite ghastly, and it's been happening for years. If you're a conservationist, environmentalist, I'm only beginning to start the learning chapter, really, for developing my knowledge in terms of environment and the climate change. And recently shared on LinkedIn the Bill Gates interview with BBC, which was really fascinating for me, because I was able to build a framework, and I can build a framework from that. But also when you look at things behind me, when you've got the big steel work there, that's used to crater up trade. We know recently in a part of the world, one of the ships were blocking the lane, and we're relying too much on these value chains, which I've been researching recently in the World Development Report. And where we are at the moment, we're just consuming and eating and we're using all these raw materials, and we are literally eating and wasting away our planet. So I think this week has been a really wake-up call for me. I've called this series Walking in Health, Success and Stress. I wouldn't say I'm stressed about the climate change. I'm more deeper and worried and concerned, because there has been some great innovation, but nowhere near, as Bill Gates has said, what we actually need. And we need a pipeline for innovation. So that means that governments have got to step up and open up their R&D budgets. It's going to take a lot of collaboration, and we are nowhere near. I would say we're not even 0.5% away from what we're doing. I think it's 0.1% of the oceans are being protected at the moment. That's a big concern. Oceans should be our priority. We should reduce our fish. I for a fact, as a human, I don't feel lost that I'm eating plant-based corn. Have done a good job. I need to look into the processes that they produce these. They say that it's meat-free, so we need to be careful. We need to look into that. But on the whole, no, we need enough of innovation. But it's not all sad, and I think that if we go into education, we should be educating our 5 to 6 year olds in primary education. I'm not saying there's been good delivery done, but climate change should be a unit on its own, I feel, and we need to step that up across the world. I, for one, will champion that and do as much as I can and put as much resources as I can on LinkedIn for everybody to use, share and develop. And it's got to a stage now where new research from the American Psychological Association has found that young people around the 16 to 24 age have actually experienced mental health problems and conditions and general anxiety, because they feel that there is a feeling of giving up on climate change. And you know, when I have kids, you know, I don't want my children, and we owe it to the planet. You know, being a Christian, I think that God gave us a wonderful planet, and mankind have just kind of spoilt that. So I highly encourage you all to think about what you're eating, reduce your meat. I reduced my meat a couple of years ago, but now I said, you know what, I can live without it. I'm helping the planet. We've killed too many animals. I hope you join me in that race. You know, it's going to be a really deep thing for you to do that. I'd never thought I'd become a vegetarian, but I feel delighted and quite liberated, in all honesty. So I'm Stephen Fahey, speaking to you this week on Walking Health, Success and Stress on a very, very important subject, climate change. And what can I say? We need to do more, and we need collaboration. We need to step up the education, and we need to do what Bill Gates says, is open up the pipeline of innovation, and I'll take steer of that and do as much as I can. I don't stand alone on this, I know that for a fact, and it is about working together. It's hard because it's hard to get, we've all been hit with COVID-19 and we're all suffering. So my first priority as a thought leader is to address the need of mental health, and I feel that if the whole world was an operating unit in the armed forces, we've just taken a big hit from, you know, I say the enemy. It's not really the enemy, it's just really nature, that with, you know, COVID-19, and we're fighting against that, and it's shaken up a lot of people's minds, especially the youth, and we need to just really, you know, look at things, share our resources. There is enough money in this world to stop hunger, inequalities in women and other notions, but climate change should be on everybody's point of list. We need to address mental health first. We're in bad shape on that. Everyone's mind is suffering. Please do use my self-diagnostic training development sheets, how you want to define it, or it's actually called your mental health well-being personal development plan. And I hope you join me in a journey to make this world a better place. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. I'm Stephen Fahey, founder of Learning for You, with you on Walking in Health, Success and Stress. I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.